Hi, hello, namaste. Welcome to Mathematics YouTube channel where learning math is made easier. Today, let's solve some 3 marks problem. How many terms are there in a AP whose first and fifth terms are minus 14 and 2 and their last term is 62? Now, this is the 26th question. What is given in this question? First and fifth terms are minus 14 and 2. Okay, so A1 and A5 is given. What is A1? A1 is minus 14 and A5 is 2. What do they want us to find? Their last term is 62. Okay, they have given already the last term, that is AN is equal to 62. They want us to find how many terms. So they want us to find N. With this given information, let us find out N. We have AN is equal to 62. Write that down. AN is equal to 62, but this is nothing but the nth term. How do we write the nth term here? AN is equal to A plus N minus 1 into D. We know A. Let's substitute that. Minus 14. We also know AN. AN is 62. 62 is equal to minus 14 plus N minus 1 into D. Shift this to the other side. 76 is equal to N minus 1 into D. Now this is the equation which you have got using the AN. Now you have to find N. You don't know what is D. Let's use the other information given here and find out D. I'll just consider A5. A5 is equal to A plus 4D. Correct? I can write A5 as A plus 4D. What is A5? A5 is 2 is equal to A is minus 14 plus 4D. So 16 is equal to 4D. So your D value is nothing but 4. I'll just write it here. D is equal to 4. Substitute D here. So if I substitute D as 4 here, what will I get? 4 1s are 4 19s are. N minus 1 is equal to 19 means what will happen to N? N is nothing but 20. So how many number of terms are there? 20 number of terms are there in this AP. Now there is an OR question for this question. Which term of the AP 65, 61, 57, 53 so on is the first negative term? This is a bit different type of question because here if you can see 65, 61, 57 and 53, you don't have to find how many number of terms are there. You have to find which will be the first negative term. Okay, this requires a little bit of thinking. Let's follow the procedure first. What is the first term here? It is 65. Can you tell me what is the common difference here? What is D here? 65 and 61. Okay, T2 or A2 minus A1 minus 4. So common difference here is minus 4. Correct? Check with the second and third term also. 57 minus 61 minus 4. Same applies here also. So you know what is A, you know what is D. Let's substitute in the general form. AN is equal to A is 65 plus N minus 1 into your D is minus 4. Okay, simplify this now. 65 minus 4 into N plus N is minus 4N. Minus 4 into minus 1 is plus 4. Okay, 65 plus 4 is 69. 69 plus this is minus 69 minus 4. Now this is your AN. But what is the actual thing which we have to do here? We have to find the negative number. What is a negative number? Negative number will always be less than 0. Right? So 69 minus 4N, I will just write less than 0 because I want to find the first negative number. That's why. Okay. So now let's solve this inequality now. 69 is less than 4N. Okay. 69 by 4 is less than N. Solve this. 4 1s are 4 1s are 2. 29 is remaining. 17 is 28.10. So 17.2. So to get a negative term, to get the first negative term, the number should be, or I should substitute a number which is more than 17.2. Okay. So which number shall I consider? For simplification, I will just consider A18 because 17.2 is here. Greater than that, I will consider A18. Let me check if I get that. A18. How can I write this? A18 is A plus 17D. A plus 17D. Okay, you know what is a 65 plus 17 into minus 4. So 17 into minus 4 is minus 68. Minus 68 plus 65 is nothing but minus 3. So your guess is correct. A18 is the first negative term in this given AP. Let's solve the next question. Prove that root 5 is irrational. Now these kind of questions are actually standard problems. For sure, not root 5 exactly, but root 2, root 3, you can get standard questions like this for sure in your board exam. Root 5 is irrational. That is what we have to prove. If you are finding difficulty in understanding it in a given way, root 5 is irrational, which means that root 5 is not rational. Okay. Now, to prove that root 5 is irrational actually, for time being, I'll just assume it to be rational. I'll assume root 5 is rational. Okay. You all know what is a rational number. You all know how you can denote rational number. How can you denote them? In the form of P by Q. The same thing I'll do for root 5. So I'll just write root 5 is equal to P by Q. Because rational numbers I can denote as P by Q. Now, it is important to know what is the actual property of P and Q. Because on this only the whole question is depending. P and Q here are integers and P and Q here are coprimes. Now what is the meaning of coprimes? If you take the HCF of P and Q, the numbers P and Q, you will always get 1 as the HCF. That is called as coprime numbers. Okay. Now come back to this. Root 5 is equal to P by Q. I have a root here. So what I'll do is I'll square on both sides. So what will I get here? 5 is equal to P square by Q square. I'll get 5 Q square is equal to P square. I'll send 5 to the other side. So Q square is equal to P square by 5. Now, just observe this part here. P square divided by 5. What is it actually giving you the meaning? If you can see here, 5 divides P square. Okay, you have a theorem, right? If a number divides A square, then the same number divides A as well. Same thing here. 5 divides P square means 5 divides P as well. Correct? From this, what can you tell? I'll give you an example. Okay. Similarly here, if I write 3 divides 6 square and 3 divides 6. Okay. If I write like this, I can tell that I can write 6 as a multiple of 3. How can I write this? I can write this as 3 into 2. Correct? I can write 6 as a multiple of 3. Same thing here. 5 divides P square and 5 divides P means I can write P as a multiple of 5. Okay. So I can write P as a multiple of 5. Now I've written 5. I'll just represent the numbers which can be written as product of that number into 5 as M here. Okay. So P is equal to 5M. Now I have got this important thing that P is a multiple of 5. I'll square on both sides again. Squaring on both sides. P square is equal to 25M square. Correct? So P square is equal to 25M square. But if you can observe this equation, I already know that P square is nothing but 5 into Q square. Now equate these two equations. What will you get here? 5Q square is equal to 25M square. Right? So 5 ones are 5 5s are. So you are left with Q square is equal to 5M square. I can just write Q square by 5 is equal to M square. Now, just observe this part here. Q square divided by 5. The same way you are getting Q square divided by 5. So what is the meaning of this? I can write again 5 divides Q square, which means that 5 divides Q as well. Right? 5 divides Q square. So 5 divides Q square, meaning I can represent Q as a multiple of 5. But what was the first thing I told in with respect to P and Q? P and Q are coprimes. If both of them are, or if both of them can be written as a multiple of 5, the property of coprime is not satisfied. So both of them cannot be a multiple of 5. Therefore, our assumption is wrong. Our assumption is wrong. What was our assumption? Our assumption was root 5 is rational. That is wrong. Therefore, you can write root 5 is irrational. So the whole question was based on just one property of P and Q, that is P and Q are coprimes. Now let's solve the next question. Prove that sin A minus 2 sin cube A by 2 cos cube A minus cos A is equal to tan A. Now, how to solve these kind of problems? If you can see here, which terms are repeated more here? In the equation, if you can see, sin and cos are repeated more. So obviously, some identity related to that will come to use. Which is identity which is having sin and cos? It is nothing but sin square A plus cos square A is equal to 1. Okay. Now this identity, there is no mandatory thing that, it should always be in this form. It can be in the jumbled form also, right? Now, what is the given equation? Sin A minus 2 sin cube A. Just observe this. Sin A and sin A. Sin is common. So I'll just write sin A into, if I take 1 minus 2 sin square A. Okay, this is common. Divided by, here the same thing, cos cube A and cos A, which means cos A is common. So cos A into 2 cos square A minus 1. Simple. Done. Now you have cos square A here. Okay, I don't want to disturb the numerator. Let it be as it is. You have cos square A here. Okay. Just look at this equation. How can you write cos square A in terms of sin square A? Cos square A is 1 minus sin square A. So I'll just substitute the same thing here. That will be your next step. So sin A into 1 minus 2 sin square A. Now you might get a doubt. Why you are changing just the numerator? Okay, if you want to take sin square A in terms of cos square A, what will you do? You will write 1 minus cos square A. So after that, the same thing will be the simplification steps. Divided by cos A into 2 into cos square A is 1 minus sin square A. 1 minus sin square A minus 1. Simple. Now 2 into 1 will give you 2 minus 2 into sin square A is minus 2 sin square A minus 1 will write as it is. Now whole thing I'll just do in this step itself. Okay, it's very simple. So what will you get here? You will get 2 minus 2 sin square A minus 1. Correct? So this is what you will get. 2 you have minus 1 here. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So again I will do the same thing here. So what will you get here? 1 minus 2 sin square A. Okay. Now observe the numerator and the denominator. 1 minus 2 sin square A, 1 minus 2 sin square A. I will just cancel these two. What is left out? Sin A by cos A is left out. What will it give you? It will give you tan A. Just compare with the RHS given, tan A and tan A. So you have arrived at the solution. Whatever changes I made here, just make sure you write it in steps. Okay. Now, in the same question, there is a OR question also given. Suppose you find this difficult. Prove that secant A into 1 minus sin A into secant A plus tan A is equal to 1. Now, how to tackle this problem? Secant A, what kind of ratio is that? It is actually a reciprocal ratio. So, which means that you might get a clue there that you should use reciprocal ratios. Secant A into 1 minus sin A, secant A plus tan A. Okay. Now, first write down the equation. I'll just do the steps. Secant A, since I know that it is a reciprocal ratio, I will just take the reciprocal of what it represents, that is 1 by cos A into 1 minus sin A into, again secant A is there, so I'll write 1 by cos A there also, plus tan A, I know it is sin A and cos A. Since everything is in terms of sin and cos, I will make this also in terms of sin and cos. Okay. Now 1 by cos A, product is there here, into 1 minus sin A. What will it give you? It will give you 1 minus sin A divided by cos A. Okay. First part is done. Let us see what happens in the second part. Here, both the denominators are same. So it is a like fraction. So if denominators are same, just add whatever is there in the numerator. 1 minus sin A into cos A. Here what will you get? 1 plus sin A by cos A. Okay. Now, in between both of them, there is product. Okay. See, product. Here also there is product. So, you have two denominators same. You can just write it as cos square A, cos A into cos A, cos square A. 1 minus sin A into 1 plus sin A. If you can see, in what form is this? A minus B into A plus B. So what will you get here? 1 minus sin is the B, sin is in place of B, sin square A. Correct? Now 1 minus sin square A, cos square A. I can relate something. Come back here. Cos square A can be written as 1 minus sin square A. Correct? So in place of 1 minus sin square A, I will just write cos square A. The denominator is also cos square A by cos square A. What will you get? You will get 1 as the answer. Compare it with the RHS. Both of them are same. You have proved it. Next question is, two concentric circles are of radii 5 cm and 3 cm. Find the length of the chord of larger circle which touches the smaller circle. Now, this is the question given. This is what they'll give. We have to construct our own diagram and solve the problem. Two concentric circles. You all know how concentric circles are formed. I'll just draw a rough figure. Concentric circles will have the same center, right? If this is the center, with the same center, I have drawn another circle. We know the radius. Find the length of the chord of larger circle. So there is a chord in the larger circle. They have given how the chord is actually given, which touches the smaller circle. So you have to draw a chord which should touch the small circle. Okay. Let me consider a chord here which is actually touching the small circle. I'll name it as P and Q. The chord is actually touching the smaller circle at M. Okay. Now, forget that the larger circle exists. Just take into account the smaller circle and this line. How is it actually looking? It is looking like a tangent to this small circle. Right. Now, if I draw a line or if I draw a radius like this. Now, OM is my radius. The radius is already given. What is it? It is 3 centimeter. Okay. If I draw a line to the tangent, what will happen? You know a theorem related to that. OM will become perpendicular. So I'll just mark perpendicular here. Also, what else information I know? I know that the radius of the larger circle is 5 centimeter. So with the help of this itself, I'll just join OP. I will get this as the radius of the larger circle, which is given as 5 centimeter. I have to find the length of the chord. For this chord, if you can see, PM is actually a part of the chord PQ. So with the help of this right angle triangle, I can find PM. What will I get? This is the hypotenuse. So 5 square is equal to 3 square plus PM square, which is actually a part of the chord. So if I simplify this, 25 minus 9 is equal to PM square. 25 minus 9 is 16 is equal to PM square. So 16 is equal to PM square means what is the value of PM? It will become 4 centimeter. Now go back to your class line. If you can see the line drawn perpendicular to the chord, PQ is the chord. I have drawn the line which is perpendicular. So line drawn perpendicular to the chord from the center bisects the chord. You have studied that also, right? So if bisects the chord means what will happen? PM will be equal to MQ. Both the parts will be equal. I know what is PM. So I can write MQ as 4 centimeter. Clear? With the help of theorem, I have come to the conclusion that this is also 4 centimeter. Now add PM and MQ. What will you get? The chord PQ. So now what is the length of PQ here? If you add 4 and 4, what is the length of PQ? It is 8 centimeter. So just write a sentence telling that length of the chord is 8 centimeter. Very simple. Let's go to the next question. Find the value of P for which the quadratic equation Px into x minus 2 plus 6 is equal to 0 has equal roots. Now, as soon as you see this kind of equation, there is no quadratic term given, right? So, don't feel tensed about it. Just observe it very carefully. Px into x minus 2 plus 6 is equal to 0. Suppose if you multiply this with x, will you get a quadratic term? Yes. So px into x, what will you get? Px square minus 2 into px minus 2px. Write down plus 6 as it is equal to 0. Now is it looking like a quadratic equation? Ax square plus bx plus 6. Now look at the question once more. It is given that is equal to 0. This quadratic equation is having equal roots. When will you get equal roots? We have to get the help of discriminant. So when discriminant is equal to 0, you will be getting equal roots. Now, what is discriminant here? B square minus 4ac. Since it has equal roots, I will just write is equal to 0. Now, compare the quadratic equation. What is there in place of b? This is b. So minus 2p is there. So minus 2p whole square minus 4 into, in place of a, what is there? P is there. In place of c, 6 is there, is equal to 0. Okay. So what will this become? 4p square minus 6 into 4 is 24. 24p will be equal to 0. Now, in both the terms, p is common. So I'll take p common. Also, if you can see 4 and 24, I can take 4 common. So I'll take 4p common into p minus 6 is equal to 0. Now, 4p is equal to 0 or p minus 6 is equal to 0. But observe here, if I take 4p is equal to 0, what will I get the value of p as? It will be 0. But the coefficient of x square is p. If I consider this as 0, I won't get a quadratic equation. So I'll not take this, I'll ignore this. The remaining thing is p minus 6 is equal to 0. So if you shift to the other side, p is equal to 6. So you have found the value of p to be equal to 6.